Welcome back to Your Passion, Purpose, and Personal Brand. I'm your host, Lisa McGuire. And today we're walking straight into a conversation that has been begging to be said out loud. Look at the big marketing voices. They've stopped talking about funnels and are starting to talk about faces. Personal branding seems to be this big topic. And this is what many people who know they need marketing have been avoiding for years. But now they've decided this is what they want. And today I'm going to talk about when people come to you for what they think they want, but what we know is what they really need. And our job is to build a bridge between what they want and what we know they need. So if you're enjoying this show, I would really appreciate if you click the subscribe button below this video and subscribe on your podcast player. It's how more people can find the show. Now, personal branding is not new. And it's what a lot of people are leaning into right now. But the way we're doing personal branding, it's a performance. Over the past 3 years, the personal branding industry has become the loudest drumbeat in the online world. Big voices are saying, you need a personal brand. You need to stand out. You need to have a strategy. And I've seen people resisting this with every fiber of their being. The most common reason I hear is, I don't want to be an influencer. And there's a story behind that we're going to talk about in today. But here's the truth most people won't say out loud. People aren't struggling because they lack a brand. They're struggling because they lack identity clarity. When the identity is unclear, the brand becomes a mask. When the identity is clear, the brand becomes an amplifier. Most people who are coming to me are asking for symptoms. They need a website, a logo, positioning, messaging, expert content, more visibility, a speaker's keynote, or even the idea for a book. Those are for the purpose of providing credibility, visibility, and authority. But those are downstream, not upstream. They are the products of identity, not the source of it. What they're really looking for is a way to be trusted. So today we're going to go deeper than the formulas, beyond the content plans, preempting the strategies, and even deeper than the brand. We're talking about you. Now, before we get into the heart of this, if you are listening and something in your body already knows, yes, that's me, I've been performing. I've been doing all the things I was told would make me successful, but they don't feel aligned anymore. Then this is exactly the work I do in my strategic identity advisory. It's not traditional branding and it's not performance policy. It is the kind of work that brings you home to who you really are. So your brand, your business, and your message have a foundation that cannot be imitated or shaken loose. If you've outgrown the identity that built your success, we should talk. Now, let's get deeper into the truth. Let's name the thing that people will not admit. Personal branding has become a survival mechanism. It's the new acceptable mask. It's the polished persona. It's the say the right thing so people will like me strategy. And the pressure gets worse the higher the stakes go. Are you climbing the corporate ladder? You shape shift to stay promotable. If you're launching something new, you perform confidence even if you're terrified. Reinventing your business, you post expert takes instead of revealing the truth. The world has taught you your brand is who you people think you are. But that's not brand. That's a performance. It's a brand that's built on fear. And it sounds like, don't say too much. Don't say it wrong. Don't show emotion. Don't be too different. And don't stand out in a way that makes people uncomfortable. This is why so many high achievers are exhausted. They're not tired from the work. They're tired from holding up the mask. And here's the part everyone feels but will not say. Audiences can feel when you're performing. They may still applaud you, but they don't trust you. This era of performance is in collapse. Identity-led marketing is the paradigm shift. Here's what your industry won't tell you. Your identity is the strategy. Your presence is the brand, and your realness is the marketing. Identity-led marketing flips the whole narrative. Instead of asking, how do I make people see me the right way? It becomes, what is the truest version of me? And how do I express that with integrity? Identity-led marketing is grounded in truth, not curated truth, actual truth. The inside story of who you are, it's the patterns you've outgrown, and what your work means to you. The second way to express what I call identity-led marketing is your energetic alignment. What is it that your nervous system can actually support? What creates internal safety? What feels congruent, where people will resonate with you? Which leads to the third one, is the truest version of you, and that is resonance. Not noise, not visibility. It's the thing people feel even before they fully understand it. Identity-led marketing works because it's not manufactured. It cannot be replicated, and it takes a major detour and bypasses the performance barrier entirely. When identity leads, it becomes effortless, and that's where trust comes from. So let's get real about this. People think they want a website, a new campaign, positioning, funnels, a logo, or even a personal brand. But what they actually need is upstream, answering questions such as, who am I really? What am I designed to do? Why does this matter in the world? How do I want to show up when the mask comes off? What is my emotional truth? And what is my category of only? This isn't the historical personal branding that's been around forever. You know, if you think about it, back in the 1800s, shopkeepers would be known for either being trustworthy or they were going to try to trick you and be exploiting you. Then in the 60s, sociologists started talking about studying self-exploration. The 80s saw the rise of reputation management. And it was in 1997 that Tom Peters wrote an article for Fast Company titled The Brand Called You. 2002, LinkedIn began reshaping the digital landscape of personal branding by creating a platform for each one of us to have our own profiles. It's not new, but what is new is the pressure. And what created that pressure? Noise, lots of noise, AI-generated content, thought leadership factories, coaches telling everyone to become visible and stand out, people trying to be the loudest instead of the truest. We've entered the trust recession. People aren't asking, is this content helpful? No, they're asking, did a real human write this? This is why identity-led marketing is becoming the only sustainable competitive advantage. Competitors become non-existent, and they no longer matter when you're operating from an identity they cannot imitate. So here is where this gets personal. I'll share a story. A few years ago, I had major foot reconstruction surgery. Now, I could have posted about business tips, marketing, strategy, but I didn't. I shared the truth. I shared that this season forced me to consider what was going to be the reality. It explained why people wouldn't see me in person at networking events. I couldn't drive for 5 months. It shared the reason I was shifting how I worked. It revealed a new way of building a business that nearly doubled my revenue that year. I shared what support I actually needed, and people came to the rescue. And what resilience looked like? You saw it in real time. I gave people an inside look at my character and to learn more about my personality. It highlighted what reinvention felt like when your body forces a pause. Now, there might have been some who saw that as risky, that I was talking too much about myself, but it wasn't done for the purpose of saying anything about me. Transparently, at first, it took courage for me to get uncomfortable. It was an invitation and a window into how I think. how I navigate challenges, and how I build a business with strong roots in humanity. It's not performance, it's presence. But here's the part most people overlook. I waited until I had enough emotional distance to share from insight and not an open wound. Another example. My sister passed away last year. It's been 11 months ago. There had been a long illness, followed by a very deep grief. It created a shift I had not anticipated would change me in the way it did. And I only recently spoke about it publicly a few weeks ago here on this podcast. And not because I wanted to center myself, but because my guest, Jordan Schramm, and I had lived parallel experiences with my sister. And the story held meaning when shared for others. It wasn't about me. This is identity-led storytelling. It's not confessional, nor is it curated. It's not using trauma as content. Identity-led marketing says, I'm human, and here's the truth I found on the other side. This is the difference. This is why people trust you, because you're not performing a brand, you're expressing an identity. There is a difference. When your brand is built on identity, something powerful happens. You stop attracting people who drain you. You stop convincing people to hire you. You stop selling the mask, and instead you become magnetic to people who feel your integrity. You find clients who say, I don't know what it is, but something feels true about you. People hire you because they trust your presence and not your performance. It becomes easier, lighter, more aligned, and more sustainable. And it is the foundation for strategic referral ecosystems, warm introductions, and long-term partnerships. It's the kind of business growth you're known for creating, because trust is transferable, and only identity earns trust. So I'd like to share some indicators that you may be stuck in performative branding. Here's what it looks like. Posting content that sounds like the category and anyone could have written it. You worry more about being liked than being true. You talk about expertise instead of experience. You waste too much energy comparing yourself to competitors. You're exhausted by your online persona. And then there are signs that your identity isn't integrated. It looks like you struggle to describe what you really do. Your business feels too small for who you're becoming. You're outgrowing the brand that you built, and you feel misaligned with your message. You're hiding parts of yourself in order to stay professional. Instead, here are some first steps towards identity-led marketing. Take some time to sit long enough again to hear your voice. We have so many distractions in our world, we often don't do this. Take notice and ask, where are you performing instead of expressing? Identify what feels heavy and what feels true. Let yourself be seen in small ways where you feel safe. And share stories from insight, not emotion. Pick one or two and see what you hear calling from within. Now, there's usually a question of what changes you can expect when identity leads. Frankly, almost everything. The clients are more magnetic. The relationships are deeper. The clarity and the confidence are clear. And especially the joy of doing work that feels like you. So here's the question. Are you building a brand the world told you to build, or the one aligned with who you really are? Because personal branding is performance. Identity-led marketing is liberation. If the mask is getting heavy, if the persona isn't fitting anymore, reach out. Let's build from truth, not performance. Until next time, be real, be seen, be who you are becoming. And thank you so much for joining me today. I'll look forward to seeing you here back next week.